It's feeling scared and then doing it anyways. And that's what I'm doing. I'm terrified and doing it anyways.
And I think that's why I always feel that way, that I'm not a confident person, because I am scared.
Yeah.
I am scared of doing it. I am scared. Like, I don't feel like I walk into a room and I own a room.
Yeah. Welcome to the Limitless Tribe, where two badass women build businesses, chase dreams, and keep it way too real. I'm Kat.
And I'm Mel. We're the founders of Powerhouse Admins and the Limitless Tribe. And we're inviting you into the messy middle, the mindset shifts, and the CEO glow-ups we never see coming.
Now let's get into it. Something I've been noticing a lot lately and thinking about is that sometimes our identity doesn't catch up to the level that we are actually at. Like, we're living a certain life, but our identity is still something different. So our life changes, our abilities change, our confidence grows, but internally, we're still describing ourselves as a version of us from years ago. So for example, for me, I say things a lot like I'm shy and I'm not confident. But when I look at life now, we're running a company, speaking with clients regularly, building a team, doing a speaking event.
Yeah.
Those labels don't really fit anymore. And it also started with so sometimes I think if everybody else says something different than what's in my head, then maybe I'm not right.
Yeah, I agree. And I think I have the same ones. Like, I always say I'm shy. I always say I'm not fully confident, or I'm very introverted. But then when I speak to other people, they're like, you don't seem shy, or you don't seem like you're not confident. And you walk into a room, you talk to people, and I'm like, am I still, or am I better? Am I not?
Maybe there's still, I'm still not like an expert like mingler, where we go into a room and we command the room.
Not at all.
But we're also not that super scared, shy person that maybe we were years ago.
I feel like people come up to us, they talk to us, and if we have we talk to other people that are around us, I might not go out of my way to go to the person all the way across the room and tap them on the shoulder, but I don't hide.
Yeah. And the confidence one always gets me too, because sometimes people, that one I don't mention it, I'll just do something, or we're talking to people and they'll be like, oh, you seem really confident, or you're so confident, and I always scoff
yeah, exactly.
You knew what was going on in my head. You wouldn't think so. But recently I heard that confidence isn't actually not feeling scared. It's feeling scared and then doing it anyways. And that's what I'm doing. I'm terrified and doing it anyways. But I think I'm measuring confidence as if I'm supposed to be a person that is just not scared of anything at all.
Yes.
And because I am scared, then I think I'm not confident. But the confidence is the showing up, even when you're scared.
You're doing it anyway.
Yeah. So, these are things, and the qualities might be different for you, right? But these are things, even financially, you could be like, oh, I'm broke, and not realize, actually you're making 6 figures now, and you haven't updated your mindset from when you were barely making ends meet. Things that could have been true in the past or at some point in your life, but they're not fully accurate now. And I think a lot of people experience this. Our reality evolves so much faster sometimes than our internal identity can, and it just can't keep up sometimes, or can't catch up as fast as we are changing. So is that something, I know you mentioned the shyness and the confidence is something you've noticed about yourself, and have you tried to stop saying those things?
I think I told myself I was going to make it an effort this year to stop saying those things, but I think I haven't practiced it as much as I probably should, because there still are moments where I'm just like, oh yeah, I'm shy, but I'm shy, or oh, yeah, I don't know about the confident one anymore. I feel like I'm actively working on that one. The shy one, no. And then the other one is with the weight thing. I feel like I have lost weight. I'm in much better shape than I was before. And this is something that's been going on for years, right? So I feel like even when I was at my skinniest and I had lost weight, when people would be like, oh my God, you look so good, or you are so skinny, I'd be like, right? And it just didn't sit with me, because I didn't feel that way about myself. And even now, I still struggle with that, where people at the gym will be like, I'm working on it. They'll be like, you look so good, or you've lost so much weight. And now I just try to say thank you. Because I'm I constantly am that person that's no, really? So I'm trying to work on that, just owning it.
Yeah.
I
think the thank you is where it starts.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't mean you believe it.
Exactly.
But you don't need to fight it either, and just say thank you. And that's where I was saying start to realize, okay, if everybody says this and I'm the only one that's thinking something different, then maybe it's not really true. So you have to even question your own thoughts sometimes, because they're not always accurate.
My husband just wants to know why everyone else gets a thank you and he gets a stop it, you're just saying that. I'm like, yeah, you know, that one's still hard.
I don't say stop it, but I'm like, are you sure? Like,
yeah, I do that.
But what about this? And then he's like, why do I tell you if you're going to tell me I'm wrong anyways? I'm like,
yep.
I'm just making sure.
Exactly. I need to be 100% sure.
And yours, I know you've lost a lot of weight, but it's not as extreme as other people. Like
exactly.
I've heard it with people that are like, you know, 300-400 pounds, like extremely on the obese end, and then they're now like extremely fit. Like it's a huge difference, and
I don't know how that is
like undeniable.
For them. Yeah.
Like it's not even like you could miss it in any way. It's not like it's just huge, and they still feel like that version, because that version of yourself that was overweight, you probably spent more time as that person.
Exactly.
And I think because it was negative, we hold on to it longer than the good stuff. You know, like we overlook our wins real fast, and then everything we struggle with, we hold on to it like for dear life for some reason.
Yeah, exactly. We can't let it go. So I think a lot of labels we carry about ourselves were formed really early on. I know like the weight one was, I know like my shyness and the not being confident were too. So like maybe in school, maybe early on in our careers, maybe during a time when we were struggling, we've created those identities for ourselves and like they've just stuck. And even after we outgrow those phases, we keep that identity. We can't just let it go. So were there any identities you had growing up that you feel like you had to outgrow?
I think for sure the shyness, even quiet. Like I feel like I've always been the quiet one, and I don't want to be the quiet one.
Yeah.
So I am working on outgrowing that one. And the confidence one, lately I'm so silly that sometimes I think if I say that I'm confident, are people going to be like, she's not confident?
Yeah. Exactly.
Like it's gonna be, I don't know.
It's gonna contradict, and someone's going to like call you out on it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't think they would tell me.
No, but
like,
in your head.
Yeah, like they would think she doesn't seem confident at all. But a little silly thing, but like in a meeting I had recently in this business training that I'm doing, they had us go around the room and just say one word about how you're feeling. And the word I was thinking was confident. But I was like, should I say it? Or are they gonna think I'm not confident and I shouldn't have said that? But I was like, I'm going to stick to the word. And for me, that was like a lot. Yeah. Because I felt confident. Like when I'm in those rooms, I can feel a little bit more like, okay, like a lot of this is what we're already doing. We're like, it just confirms a lot of the stuff that we're doing. So I did feel confident. So, but saying it was, you know, scary. So I've been working on that, but just shy, quiet, non-confident was the energy growing up. And I don't want any of that.
Yeah, I think the other one for me is like not funny. I think I mentioned that last time. Like I always say I'm not funny or I'm not a fun person. And I think that's because I've like I've had throughout my life, I've had to be like serious and whatever. And like an adult at a young age. So then I feel like that's stuck with me, that till this day, I'm like, I'm not funny. But then like other people are like, you're kind of funny. And I'm like, am I? Like, no, I don't think I'm funny.
Yeah. So... You know what's another weird one? I don't know why I picked that up. The intelligence one. And I was never like dumb, and my parents never told me I was dumb. And in middle school, I was in gifted. But I don't know, I never really considered, I thought I was just like average. Like I wasn't dumb, but I didn't think I was that intelligent. But being in business, I feel a lot smarter.
I think that's for me too. And like, I think doubting myself a lot. I don't know, like even in work, when I knew what I was doing and I knew what I was talking about, I sometimes would question whether I knew what I was doing or knew what I was talking about. And I did, but it was always like something I struggled with, like really feeling confident and smart about it, you know?
Yeah.
So it's funny how we pigeonhole ourselves from a young age, you know? I've also seen this happen with physical transformations like I was talking about, right? So someone might lose a lot of weight or get into great shape, but internally they still see themselves as the overweight version of themselves. Their body changed, but their identity didn't fully update yet. So like you were saying about that person going from obese to then being really like, you know, in shape, how they still see themselves as that obese person. I know I always struggle with, like, I have issues sometimes saying that I work out to certain people.
Really?
Because I feel like they're going to look at me and go,
Oh,
You know?
I was like, why?
Yeah. So I feel like they're going to look at my body and be like, she doesn't look like she works out. So I have trouble like saying it out loud to some people, depending on how they look.
Wow.
Isn't that, it's crazy.
Yeah,
and I work
yeah.
out, like I do hard, and like, I'm like, but I do. But it's like this mental thing of still thinking that I don't look that way. So it's hard. It's hard in life. So have you noticed this in people as well, or have you ever have you noticed this in people that you've been around with like the weight thing, or with me?
Well, is like, you have never, I don't know how to, like, you've never really been on par with how you look.
Yeah.
And everybody can tell you, and you're like, no. And it's like, you're the only one. So you're wrong, because everybody else
Struggle.
So you're the main one. These things I notice more in myself, but like for the people that are really overweight, it must be strange too, because even though you haven't accepted it, like the way that you're treated at 400 pounds is different than you're treated at 130. Even noticed. So I know that some people have mentioned that, like, they didn't realize how different it was, like how many more people help them now, how many more people approach them, how many more people are friendlier, like so many things that don't match them because they still feel like that other version.
Yeah.
It must be weird, I would think. So I notice it a lot in business too. Like, I think sometimes people, including myself, I know that business owners, we are all just regular people trying to figure it out, like messily and not knowing what we're doing. But at the same time, maybe because I'm newer to it, I also sometimes think that other business owners have it all together and they have it figured out, and it's just me that is learning.
I think that's a common thing.
But when I talk to other business owners, I realize, okay, they're trying to figure it out too, and they're also lost in certain areas. So with Powerhouse, we've grown so much. Like, we've been around now, it's 3 years. We just made 3 years, and we've had consistent growth year over year. We've never had a year that had the same revenue or same clients as the previous year. Every year we've gone up in clients, we've gone up in revenue. Our clients really love us. We have like tons of structure set up. This is like a real business with a recruiter, with a trainer, with a, team leads. Like, there's a lot of structure around it, but still in my head, we're just like tiny and not really a business or like a big business. And I'm always wondering where we are, like in that level, But when I step back and look at reality, the facts are we've grown every year in revenue. We've grown every year in clients. We have great reviews.
Yeah, our clients love us so much that they refer us to other people.
Yeah.
Like, that's how, we grow. So.
Yeah, that's our only lead source right now. So you have to question, like we mentioned, you have to question your thought and match it to facts. So like, if these are the facts and that doesn't match to how I'm feeling, then maybe there's just something wrong in how I'm gauging myself.
Exactly.
Do you ever feel like we're still in the beginning of the company? And is it different for you having come in like as it had already started? Because sometimes they say, sorry to interrupt you, but sometimes they say that because I started it from the beginning where it was literally just me. So they say sometimes that founders, you stay stuck in that beginning phase and you don't realize the growth and you think you're still small, but I'm sure it's different like coming in after.
It is different coming in after, but at the same time, I feel like, how do I say this? Because I have seen the growth, right? Like, I see it every day. I see how big we are. I see, like, obviously not Jeff Bezos big, as you would say, but we are big, right? Like, we've grown consistently since I started. We've had growth, right? And it is fun to watch. And it's amazing to see. But I think a lot, like, some of it comes from how we speak about it to other people. Because I know even when I'm with you, when we talk about it, sometimes we're just like, oh yeah, we have this business. But it's not like, oh, we have this business. Like, we don't project it like it's something that's really big for us. So I feel like that sticks a little bit. And then with my family, I feel like they don't get it. They don't get it, right? So then when I explain it to them, I have to like dumb it down So I feel like in the dumbing it down, I make it smaller than what it is. So then that also like winds up sticking with me. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yes, that happens to me because our business is called Powerhouse Admins, right? But it's like an operational support system for business owners. It's not like you hire an admin and they do like data entry. Like we do a lot, but people don't always get that, and it's a lot to explain. So then you just go like, oh, an admin. And some people don't even get like the virtual admin, like virtual.
They don't understand.
How could they be an admin if it's virtual? But they're like stuck on the concept.
Exactly. And then I have like my mother, who I've explained it to a million times, and then she'll tell like my aunt, oh no, she has like a woman's thing, and they just like, and then they make it, and I'm like, what are you talking about? That has nothing to do with what I'm doing. So it just becomes like, and then I just look at them, and then my aunt's looking at me with a face like, what do you do? And then I'm just like, forget it. I don't do anything. I am jobless.
Well, I think it's also funny because we work from home. So for people who are older and have never done that or even seen that until us, it's weird. And sometimes I wonder, like, I know my mom knows I have a business, but like, and she doesn't know like how good we're doing and stuff. And sometimes I wonder, like, does she wonder where I make money?
Yeah.
How I pay the bills? And then also like, sometimes she'll give me, like, I'll tell her a little bit about something and she'll give me some advice or something. But advice is like, oh, like if the bosses or like if the company, I'm like, we are the bosses. If I don't like it, I change it. So I think it hasn't like fully connected. So yeah, that is another thing. And the thing about, we were talking earlier about Jeff Bezos, like I want to speak to more business owners and I want to connect with them more. Kind of like networking, but I feel like networking, the purpose is to get clients. And that would be awesome, but that's not my purpose. I genuinely want to connect with other business owners. And that's part of why we created this community, to get to that point where we do that at a later time. But like, just talk about like a struggle or a win or like an idea or how proud you are of something. And I think that when I speak to other business owners, I always get something out of it. So either they are doing something incredible that I'm like, wow, that's a great idea, I'm going to incorporate that here. Or they are already doing something that we're doing. Like it doesn't have to be like the business idea. It's more like a structural thing or management thing. And we're doing that also. And I'm like, it feels good to know that this is repeatable and a good practice and is done in other places. And then third option, they're really terrible. And I'm like, you know what? This puts it into perspective, because if I'm alone and I don't speak to other business owners, in my head, I'm comparing Powerhouse to Amazon.
Yes.
And obviously we're not Amazon, but that doesn't mean that we're not a big deal and, bigger than a lot of businesses that sometimes haven't made a profit or can't pay themselves or are still in those, do we break even phase? And we're not there. So speaking with other business owners helps me compare a little bit more normal people and still have that image of like the people that are amazing and killing it at such a high level. But it brings me down a little bit more to reality.
Yeah. That's funny though, because I was just thinking about something. There was one time that I was like, really like, no, we have what do you mean? Like my business, it's big. Because one of my former coworkers had called me out of the blue and I answered, and he wasn't that great of an employee anyway. And he's like, oh yeah, I see that your little hobby is doing pretty good. And I'm like, my little hobby? And he's like, yeah, it's good that you're trying this.
Like
and
you're saying
like if it's just some like little thing that I'm doing. And I was like, what do you mean? I was like, and I got so offended. So I was like, we have this many employees and we're doing this and we have this many clients. And I was like, so pissed about the whole thing. And then that was the one day I was like, good job, Melissa.
What did he say?
No, he was like, oh, that's amazing. I didn't realize it, because I think I said it also very aggressively. He was a little scared.
That's funny.
It was really funny though. I was like, that was the one time I was like, okay, good job. You explained it well.
Yeah. Okay, so last question on this. Do you ever like forget that you own a business or that
Yes. I do. Sometimes, yes. I forget what I'm doing sometimes. Like I just forget that like this is something that's actually happening in my life.
Yeah. Me too. And it's been longer for me and it's still but I don't know why that is, but it's a really big deal for us because
I think that's the reason that I do, is because this is something that's so out of
forget.
I don't know. I feel like it's something that's so out of my realm that I could have ever expected or like thought of doing. Yeah. That's why sometimes it doesn't like fully click. that it's here.
For me, it's something I've always wanted and never did for so many years. To have done it and for it to be successful is huge. So like
you would think that it would stick more.
Yeah, but sometimes I forget that we're a business owner or that we're at a certain level and things like that. So I'm trying to connect those dots.
Yep. So another place that this shows up is when we walk into rooms with people we think are way ahead of us, right? So sometimes I assume everyone there is operating at a higher level. But after actually like talking to them, you realize we're actually more structured than they are. Like we have our crap together. We have systems in place. We have good people. We know what we're doing. But it's hard when I don't know, you constantly think like, oh, look at that person's business. Or even on Instagram, I feel like a lot of the times, like I go on IG, right? And I see these people in these businesses and I like start comparing myself and I think like, oh man, they're doing really good. And I don't know what's going on their back end. I don't know, how Instagram is so fake. Like, I don't know what's really happening. So I have to stop comparing myself to these other people because I really don't know what's happening in their lives or in their business. So have you ever had those moments where you're like intimidated at first, but then you're like, I got my shit together.
Yeah. And it's never like a negative about the other person. It just is a confidence boost for yourself because you were being so strict with yourself about where you were comparing to. But for sure, like the Instagram, sometimes you see posts of people living a certain life or making a certain income and things like that. And then it turns out that that you later find out that they're in huge debt. Yep. The business closes down, or they can't pay a simple bill. So to me, that's huge because I don't know how much they make compared to us. I never did the math, but I can pay my bills. And that is a win. So those are things that I think about. And then in certain meetings, meeting with different people, even sometimes I don't know how to compare, how to gauge. So if the person has a bigger project or a business that charges more, so then the revenue is higher, I think this is a better business, or like more established. But when you really talk to how the structure is built or how much of that revenue is kept or things like that.
Yeah, a lot of companies have a lot of overhead.
Yes.
And, a lot of their income, that's what it goes to. And then they have nothing left at the end.
Yeah.
So,
and I don't know if you remember, we went to this networking event once. It was, I think it was more women, and a lot of people were in the community space or like groups and things like that. There was a few with like regular businesses, but some of them were trying to build more of a community. And, and so many people there were like, oh, we can't pay ourselves yet, or we're not at the point where we can earn an income, but we love this. And that was also eye-opening. Yeah. Because when we walk into the room, we're like intimidated because to us, everybody seems so confident and like so put together. And we're like, what are we doing?
Yeah, they're all like talking and engaging and this. And we're like,
confidently.
I know. And then we walked out and we're like, we're doing better than most.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
So it's not to be bad about that, but it's like to like give yourself a confidence boost to realize you're doing better than you're giving yourself credit for.
Yes.
So that was another eye-opener for me. So I've noticed that like when life grows quickly, business opportunities, responsibilities, there's a moment where your brain goes, wait, can I actually handle this? And I've noticed it with business. Sometimes when it happens a little bit fast, I panic. And I'm like, oh my God, do we have the structure for this? Are we going to be able to take this on? And I get nervous, and I realize that my nerves are like it'll break everything. Like not break, like it'll pause. Yeah. So if I really feel that way, like we can't handle it, like it's going to be too much, and I get nervous, it pauses.
Like the growth stops.
Yes, even that, whatever was happening. Like there might be 3 clients coming at a time and I'm like, oh my God, 3 at the same time. And then it becomes none and they're all pausing for right now. Like they're waiting for something. Yeah. Because it's like the universe is like, oh, she's not ready. She's panicking. Let's pause for her because she can't handle this. And other times now I'm trying to, like, when I get a little nervous that it's a lot happening at the same time, I'm like, we're going to figure it out. We have the team, we have the structure. This will be fine. And I'm more calm, then it like keeps going.
Yeah, I agree.
So even though logically, you've built the structure, the plan and everything to handle that, sometimes you might feel nervous about handling something slightly bigger than what you are right now. So have you ever felt that moment where something expands and maybe your first reaction is excitement, but the second one is, okay, this is a lot?
Yeah, I think just like it was recently, we had a couple clients start at the same time, and then we were like hiring admins, but we didn't have a lot of admins that were new hires because the trainees weren't that good. And we had to like get new people to like interview and stuff. And I was like, are we gonna be able to do this? But I was excited because we had new clients coming, but also I was a little nervous because I was like, are we gonna be able to handle it?
Yeah.
So it's always like, it's like a double thing, right? Like you have that super excitement on the front end, and then you're like, wait, am I going to be able to do this? Are we going to be able to do this? Is the company going to be able to handle this? But I think it's like what you said, when you stop and like sit back and you're really like, we've already done this. Like we've had this happen before and we've gotten through it. So why would it be any different now? And kind of just letting it go with the process. It makes it a little easier.
Maybe you haven't had it because you didn't dream of opening a business before, but I wonder if any of you guys have thought about opening a business before, because when you were saying that, I was thinking other times, right? I've thought like I think I once wanted to open like a candle business. And then I
remember that.
I get excited about the candle business, and then I'm like, oh my God, but like, what if I can't make enough candles and I get 50 orders, and then where do I store? And I get like so bogged down about what am I going to do if I get 2,000 orders and I don't even have one, I haven't even made the candle. So, you know.
Yeah, you're like 20 steps ahead of what's actually happening.
Most of the time, I do think some businesses have some insane growth like that. And honestly, I prefer slow and consistent, how we've had it, over something like 2,000, you know, clients or orders or whatever. But most of the time we like psych ourselves out because that's not a problem we're really having right now.
Yeah.
So worry about right now, you're making one candle. Let's make a couple. You can sell a few. You can charge them higher if you get too many orders. You can tell people, yes, I can deliver the 2,000, but it's going to take me X time. You get help. Like you will deal with it if that happens, and you can slow it down a bit. But why are we stressing about the huge order if we haven't even started the business?
It'll get figured out.
So one of the things that's funny that we were talking about earlier is the confidence piece. That's one that I've been adjusting lately, right? Because every time I say that I'm not confident, people are surprised, or sometimes people will bring it up to me and they mention that I sounded really confident, or I looked really confident, or I am so confident. And every time they say that, I'm like, what are they seeing? My legs were literally trembling as I was talking. We actually had an event recently, and after I felt more comfortable, but like the first a few minutes, I was standing and I was wearing a skirt and my legs were like this. And there's a table close to us, and as I'm talking, I'm thinking, can they see my legs? Because I feel like they're going like this. And today we were looking at the video, and I'm like zooming in to see, can you see the leg trembling? And you can't.
Nope. And I was wondering, did it sound like my voice was shaking? Like that's all I kept thinking about as I was speaking. I was like, can everyone tell that I'm nervous and my voice is shaking? And you can't. It's just you. Like, it's how you feel internally.
So I've been reading about it a little bit and kind of going back and forth with the confidence piece. And I think sometimes we think that in order to be confident, we need to just be extremely ready, prepared, and not scared. So you're comparing to like it just being like perfect. And I think there's very few situations that are like that. And if they are, you're probably not stretching yourself enough to get outside of your comfort zone and try new things. So I've been reading lately that confidence, and I've heard it before, but sometimes you have to hear things a few times or at different moments in your life for it to click differently. So hearing about like confidence, it's not that you're not scared. It's that you're scared and you do it anyways. And that is what I'm doing. I am terrified and I do the things anyways. You know, I try to put myself outside of my comfort zone. I do things that I know will be good for me, even though they're really scary in the moment. And that is exactly what confidence is. But in my mind, since I'm scared, I wasn't confident.
Yeah.
So I wasn't like comparing to the right thing.
Yeah, it didn't matter that you were actually showing up and doing it because you were like scary for you, then you're still not a confident person.
Yeah. So, and then another little thing I saw recently, there was a clip of Miley Cyrus doing a speech. I don't know if it's recent or old because I didn't see the award show, but she was saying she was going to reveal like a Disney secret, and she's your person to like tell you all the secrets. And she says, even legends are scared. And she says, right now I'm scared, but I'm doing it anyways, and I'm here. And you can be a legend too. And I thought that was so awesome to think of somebody, like you wouldn't think somebody at her level is even scared at all.
Yeah, they just own the room. That's what you think. They're confident. They own the room.
So it really is like, I don't know, it just connected it all for me. And I think if I don't put the pressure of myself of thinking I'm not supposed to be scared, then I'm going to be even more confident knowing that it's in the showing up.
Yeah.
That is good. So it's really in that willingness to act even when you're unsure. And for you, what do you think confidence is for you? And is it something and what does it feel like for you in your body?
I feel like confidence is, like what I said, walking into a room, owning the room, like speaking up, to me, it's not being afraid to say what's on your mind, speak up, and like interact with people without fear. And I think that's why I always feel that way, that I'm not a confident person, because I am scared.
Yeah. I
am scared of doing it. I am scared. Like, I don't feel like I walk into a room and I own a room.
Yeah.
I walk into a room and I just walk into a room, you know, like I don't walk in with my back like slouched over, like I look scared, but I don't walk into the room like with my shoulders held high, feeling like I captivated the entire room and like everyone's looking at me and like I'm just gonna speak and they're all gonna be like, you know, and that's what I think.
So we need to bring our expectations down
a little bit.
So maybe we can change that, because I feel that too. We can change that to like, you feel confident that you even walked into this room.
Yeah.
And you're going to be scared speaking up, but maybe we can do it more often and feel confident that we're doing it no matter how it delivers.
I like that better. I feel like that's doable. What you think in your head is just so funny, right? Like how your thoughts they really create your reality of what
they do and
in your life.
I don't know if everybody thinks that way.
I don't know either.
But like sometimes the expectations are just ridiculous. I know they're ridiculous, but they are the expectations and I can't change them. Even like looks wise, I feel like you might be at the best shape you've ever looked, but I think in our heads, we have like the swimsuit model on the magazine.
Oh yeah.
And then we're like, but this does not look like that, even if it might be the best you've ever looked. So you can't enjoy that moment because it doesn't match this like perfection, which might have even been airbrushed.
I will tell you now, I stand in front of the mirror and I have a lymphatic massager now, which I'm obsessed with. And I'm using it, whatever. And my husband will just be looking at me and he's like, you look amazing, babe. Or like, you look great. Or like, oh my God, I can't believe you're mine. Or something, you know, to like make me feel good. And then I'm like, what do you mean? Do you see the C-section scar? Do you see this? My little fupa, I have this, I have that. And like, I start like picking all the little things. And he's just staring at me like, why do I even bother? Why do I bother? But in my head, right, the perfect person or the perfect woman is like, you know, flat abs, like 6-pack, and like you're saying, like swimsuit supermodel that you see, and that's not, you know.
You know what I feel, and I wonder, with like saying those things, like, oh, but what about this? I feel like and I don't do it as much now because I have gotten more comfortable with just saying thank you and trying not to say as many things, but I think it's like if they say you look good and you just say thank you and don't say all the thing.
Yeah, you don't point out all of the things that are there.
It's like they think I don't know they're there.
That's what I think it is too. Like, and again, I just want to make this clear. Like, my expectations are not to look like a supermodel, swimsuit model. Not my expectations. I actually like the way I look. I don't have an issue with the way I look. But for some reason, if I don't point those things out, I feel like it's like me saying that it's not there and then them thinking that it is there. I don't know. It's like a mind fuck, I think. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Because I am happy and I feel like I had a kid and my kid is my blessing and like this is a mom, but I am a mom. And I think I look pretty good for, 40 years old and working out and where I am in life. But for some reason, like I have to still point out all the little imperfections.
But maybe it's like, you might say you don't want to be like the swimsuit model, but you're not accepting yourself as much as you think you are.
Maybe.
Because then you don't need to say those things because you're a regular human person.
Yeah. I don't know, Kathy. Still working on this my whole life. It's getting better, I hope. So maybe part of growth isn't just learning new skills or reaching new milestones. Maybe it's also about updating the way we see ourselves. Note to self. Because if our identity stays stuck in an old chapter, we end up minimizing who we've actually become. So it can also work the other way around, and that can be really powerful. And these are notes to myself that I am saying, because I need to remember those things every day.
So by the way, like if you've been watching our episodes or if this isn't your first one, like we talk about so many different topics and mainly they're just lessons we have learned or are in the process of learning or we're practicing them. And the episodes come up sometimes as we're going through them, right? So like this is something that's been coming up for me a lot lately. So I've been thinking about it a lot, and then I what's the word? Like realistically or logically, I know that the way we see ourselves is a little delulu in the negative way, right? It's not really realistic because there's so much more we're not giving ourselves credit for. So I'm thinking we could do the opposite.
Yes.
Right. And I'll tell you a little bit about that now. But, you know, like we were saying, your identity is going to grow sometimes before your life does. You start thinking, deciding, and moving like the next version of yourself before the results match yet. So that's the other version, right? So if you can be a little delulu of yourself negatively, like you're here and you treat yourself and speak about yourself and act like you're here, then why can't we be delulu here and think we are here? Treat ourselves like we're here, see ourselves like we're here. And now your actual life has to adapt and has to match how you see yourself. So then your life automatically gets better because you have to grow into the version of yourself that you're seeing. So that's something that we hear and that we've heard called like quantum leaping. And I've heard the term before, I've explained it, but now with this whole identity thinking and how I know that my identity doesn't match sometimes who I am, it makes more sense about creating this other identity that also may not match who we are right now, but is the direction that we're going, and then building my life to that and just like catapulting into that would be so much more fun and easier than how we're thinking of ourselves right now.
Yeah.
So you might start seeing yourself, for example, as a leader before you have a full team. And as a leader of leaders, and in all of my career, that's how people got promoted. Like before you were a team lead or a sales lead, you had to be that rep who acted as one.
Yes.
Who helped close deals, who answered the questions, who showed up, who was reliable. So there might be additional training that you need, but when the role comes up or the opening comes up, you're someone that people would think of because you've been acting as if almost without having the title. So if you're an entrepreneur and you're quite not there financially yet, you're still in those beginning stages where you're not making an income or paying yourself yet, or you haven't broken even, start thinking yourself as a successful entrepreneur, even though the revenue hasn't showed up before, because that's pretty normal. Like there's a lot of businesses that don't break even for like 3 to 7 years. Yeah. So that's a normal part of business. And that's why so many businesses fail. And it's why so many people don't do business, because you have to get through these humps and not everybody does. So you're successful in that you're doing it, you're pushing yourself, and you're going to get through this slump to get into the point where your success matches the successful entrepreneur you know you are. And speaking of yourself as a confident person and feeling confident, even if you mess up, even if you sound unsure, even if you shake when you talk, you know, you still can be confident if you're trying, if you're putting yourself out there, if you're doing something scary, you're confident because it's a brave thing. Like to be confident, you have to be brave, because I don't think you can be confident if you never try anything.
Yeah, and I feel like anytime you put yourself out there, that's being brave. That's doing one thing that someone else isn't doing, right? Yeah. Like that's putting yourself out there, and it is scary, but that shows confidence just in that, because not everyone does that.
Yes. And the people watching you, they might be people that want to do what you're doing, and they think you're confident and you're doing it because you're already confident and perfect. Like you're good at it. That's how we see it on the other side, because you're showing up and doing it. But meanwhile, you're showing up scared, and this person doesn't know that it's safe and perfectly fine to show up scared and even mess up. And they're going to inspire other people in the process of doing that. Yeah. So when that happens, it can feel uncomfortable. 100% it will feel uncomfortable, because your life hasn't caught up with your identity yet, right? But sometimes that gap is exactly what creates the leap. You're going to have to work and match your lifestyle to the version you're created. And that sounds a lot more fun than
I think
what we're thinking.
I think so. I want to be Delulu in a good way.
Yes.
Stop in a negative way.
And sorry, one more thing. Like, it's similar to, like, they say, like, you know, a lot of us think worst case scenario, right? What's the worst that can happen? And if you imagine the worst that can happen, why can't you imagine the best that can happen? So this is kind of that same type of scenario.
Yeah. And that's when something interesting happens, really, right? Because your decisions start changing. So your standards start changing. The opportunities you say yes or no to start changing, because you're no longer operating from who you were. You're operating from who you are now, like who you're becoming, who is this like bigger person. So over time, your life starts organizing to match that identity. And I think that's so powerful, because if you're constantly minimizing yourself, that's the level you're operating at. That's who you're showing up as every day. If you start operating from this like higher self, you know, your whole life changes. So many opportunities come to you. Just the way that you interact with other people is different. The way that other like higher, bigger people start, coming to you and speaking to you is different, because they see that you have this, confidence, even if it's fake confidence. They see that you have this confidence in yourself and in your abilities and in what you're bringing to the table. So they want to work with you. They want to connect with you. So it is all that, you fake it till you make it, and then once you like continue operating at that level, you will start to believe that, and you will become that.
But remember, it doesn't mean you're not going to be scared, because legends are scared. Like,
I love that saying. Legends are scared.
Even if you're going to be, you might be confident and comfortable in the things you've done a bunch of times. But if you're the kind of person who's always growing, then you're going to be doing new things or have bigger rooms or bigger conversations that are going to make you feel uncomfortable. So there's always going to be that, but you know that you're showing up, and that's where the confidence is.
Yes.
I'm going to be trying to shift that. And I think so for example, for our business, like, we already are successful, but we want to hit a certain revenue goal, right? And when we hit that revenue goal, we can make decisions a little bit differently. So we're starting now with some of those decisions. What kind of clients do we accept? What kind of, where is our minimum hours? Not discounting our prices like we did in the beginning. So you make different decisions as a version of yourself that already hit that revenue goal, even though we're not there yet.
Because we will be there.
Yes.
And that's how we're going to get there.
Oh, what I was going to say is about this is, so like how we're doing it, right? Where we are so hard on ourselves and we're reaching for these goals and we're putting in the work, right? So eventually you will make it to your goals, right? But it takes so much longer because you're fighting your own identity. But I think if we do all the work that we normally do towards our goals, but with the confidence of we're already there into this future version, not lower than we actually are, then it's like a boost.
Yes.
Like, it would be so much easier to hit the goals if you're not arguing with your identity,
Yeah, you're not pushing back.
Yeah. So when it comes to fitness, if you want to be healthy and fit and feel good in your body, think about that when you make certain choices, when you eat certain things. It's not that means that you're going to be perfect, but you'll be more aware. Maybe you skip one of the sodas, you treat yourself for dinner, but the rest of the day you're like, I'm a person that drinks water because my skin is going to be glowing. So you just make the decisions a little bit differently based on that identity. And I think I want to work on becoming like really obsessed with that identity that I'm building.
Yes.
I've done this work before where you write, your future life and you do a lot of the work for it, but I feel like now it connects for me.
Yeah.
Like, I think I want to get really into that.
I agree. Because I think that's something that we've been talking about a lot this year. Like, even, and the year's only started, but from last year to, this year, we did have a lot of that conversation of like showing up more confidently and speaking more confidently and just like becoming that version of yourself now so that you can get there quicker. So it's definitely something that we're working towards.
Yeah. But so I feel like I understood it with my head, but now I feel like I can apply it.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like
I was just going to say, sometimes there has to be like a click, or someone says it, or you hear it in a certain way, or like you just think about it differently, and then it like makes more sense.
Yeah. So think about it like this. Growth isn't only about building new habits or reaching new levels. Sometimes the real shift is in realizing that the version of yourself you're describing doesn't even exist anymore. Like that girl from 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, thank her for, getting you here, but she's not who you are anymore. You're a different version of yourself. And the real work is going to come.
And Kathy will cry.
I'm emotional. I'm thinking of little me now. So the real work is going to be allowing your identity to catch up with your reality first. But then let's skip that and create a new reality and then make your life catch up to that reality. So letting it work that other way around, where you can think of your identity ahead of that. Get excited about it. Like connect it to the vision board and really become obsessed. Like every day you think of yourself as that version of yourself. And you're going to notice that your life is going to begin catching up to that version of you. And that's where the huge leaps are going to really start to happen.
If this conversation resonated, share it with someone who might need to hear it. I know so many of us, especially, I don't know if it's both genders. I don't know if it's men, women. I really don't. But I know as a woman, I think it hits for a lot of women. I feel like we tend to speak about ourselves negatively. We aren't as confident as maybe some men out there. We, minimize the things that we do, even as being like a mom, like I did this wrong or I didn't do that right. We're doing our best. Like we're working and we're running a family and a household and taking care of business. And it's so many things.
Oh my God. Sorry. I thought of this recently because parents, so I feel like because sadly, a lot of men in the past, and I feel like the new generation is really different.
Yes,
with parents,
they are.
But in the past, men weren't very involved in parenting. It was all the woman's job. So the expectation for momming, for being a mom, is this: you have to be everything to everyone.
Yes.
But if you did one thing as a dad, it'd be like,
I know, you were like dad of the century, and like
your kid from school one day. Whoa,
I know.
How'd you do that? And it goes with work too. Like women, you want to go up the ladder, but then you should always still be a stay-at-home mom. But then you can't move up the ladder because you need to be home. But a guy isn't really questioned for that stuff.
Yes, exactly. That's why I feel like as women, we put so much pressure on ourselves and we minimize the things that we do in life, and everything, because we're doing so much. We should be proud of all of the things that we've accomplished, right? Whatever it is, even if you're not a mom and you're just working and running your household or whatever it is, or a dog mom or a cat mom, or you have so much going on, but we minimize ourselves and we don't give ourselves the credit that we deserve. So we really need to make sure that we are trying to match that identity that we have, because we're spectacular. We're spectacular.
And because you do it regularly, you just think it's average and normal, but it's really not.
Yep. So if you know someone that, needs that identity shift, needs to work on becoming Delulu with the best version of themselves that they can be, send this to them, because it's something that they really need to hear. Our next episode, we'll be talking about something many high achieving women struggle with, which is how to balance responsibility with playfulness. Somewhere along the way, a lot of us became focused on being productive, capable, and responsive, and we forgot just to have fun. I am included in that. So, we'll be discussing that and hopefully getting that fun, playful, creative version out of ourselves a little bit more. So until next time, your life, your rules, stay limitless.